We are mere games into the 2020-21 NBA season, and as per usual, the beginning of this season has gave way to a number of surprises, both good and bad. The Orlando Magic have the best record in the league, while the Wizards still haven't managed to get a win. One of the most intriguing surprises of this season has been that the Kings front office, after years of blunders, have seemingly nailed the draft pick. Sacramento drafted Tyrese Haliburton with the 12th pick in the 2020 NBA draft, and he has since shown to have been a revelation. Through 4 games, he's averaging 11, 2, and 5 on 56% shooting. Numbers that don't pop through the screen, especially considering the season is still games young. Ever since the Buddy Hield walk-off game winner, or should I say runoff, and I mean the second one, the Kings have been one of my favorite League Pass teams, and I've had the pleasure of watching dang near every possession of this young man. With Haliburton, it isn't the statistical production that's intriguing, but rather his flashes of mature b-ball IQ nearly every play, and seamless transitioning from being the vocal point of the second unit to a de facto 3-and-D wing with secondary ball handling duties, earning him a spot on the closing 5 as a rookie. In this video, we will briefly examine Haliburton's rise prior to the NBA and his subsequent early season exploits. If you end up liking this video and you want to see more basketball content from me, consider liking the video and commenting your thoughts below. Now without further ado, let's get right into it. Tyrese Haliburton knows how it feels to be undervalued. Throughout his high school career, he suffered from a serious lack of exposure, largely because his AAU team, Wisconsin United, operated outside the shoe circuits that attract the country's top college coaches. Unlike other top prospects, he barely managed to get a 3-star ranking, and even that came midway through his junior season. Despite this, he kept his head down and entered his senior year with an insatiable hunger for success. He went on to average 23 points, 6 assists, 5 boards, and 4 steals, en route to leading his high school team to a 26-1 record and their first state championship. He ended his prestigious high school career being crowned Wisconsin Gatorade Player of the Year over guys like Tyler Hero. And once again, he still went under the radar, only managing to receive 2 D1 offers, one to Northern Iowa and one to Iowa State. He ended up attending Iowa State and was at this very university where his career trajectory would flip on its head. Tyrese was originally slated to sit behind Lindell Whittington, a guy who was one of the best freshmen in the Big 12 the previous season. But when given a chance to start due to team injuries, he proved impossible to keep off the court, bringing the Cyclones a dynamic blend of defense, playmaking, and efficient offense they have been starved of. He started 34 games that season, averaging 7 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and almost 2 steals a game. He also somehow managed to shoot 43% from the 3-point line despite his unorthodox release. Haliburton fashioned a 4.5-to-1 assist to turnover ratio that would rank at 2nd in the nation and 4th best in school history. His freshman season climaxed with a record-breaking 17 assist game against Southern. Overall though, it was a pretty pedestrian season. He was the team's 6th leading scorer, though that was behind 2 future NBA second-round picks. Regardless, it took some serious digging to see the promise of the 6'5" scrawny floor general. He returned to school to improve on his raw offensive skills and showcase what he can do with more responsibilities, and as a result, his per-game numbers did indeed skyrocket, better representing the value he brought on the court. He averaged 15, 7, and 4, still pretty modest numbers. But this time under an increased role, the sample size was large enough that advanced stats could be used to rank him as a prospect. That along with the overlying context made scouts fall in love with him. One advanced analytics model created by ESPN's Kevin Pelton rated Haliburton as the 6th best prospect in the nation, picking up on all the things that Haliburton didn't do on the court. Those things being how he rarely missed shots or turned the ball over. 2 skills that translate immensely well to the next level. He once again had an historic assist to turnover ratio, shot around 44% on threes and 69% on 2-point field goals. These stats perfectly complemented the eye test. Haliburton's value to Iowa State jumped out the TV and slapped you right across the face. Every time he stepped onto the court, the offense was supercharged by his floor spacing and his ball movement. He never looked for his own shot, only scoring when that was the best play available, allowing everyone around him to thrive. Subsequently, Iowa State was one of the Big 12's best offenses with his presence. Clear Haliburton was incredibly valuable on the offensive end, but he was also a great defender, with an elite steal rate and block rate for a perimeter player. At 6'5", he could switch pretty seamlessly between 1 and 3, and his raw feel for the game allowed him to be at the right place at the right time. For the first time in his basketball career, scouts were finally taking notice nationwide. His draft stock exponentially rose throughout his monster sophomore season, his main selling point being his quiet yet extremely effective offensive versatility. That, along with his defensive versatility, made him one of the most NBA-ready prospects in the draft. And many had him as a top 5 player in terms of current ability. But concerns about his janky shooting form, ability to put pressure on the rim, and long-term ceiling had him fall to the Kings at 12. Oftentimes, the only difference between being a dud and a steal in the NBA simply comes down to team fit. And the fit with the Kings always felt like a perfect match. While Haliburton has primarily been the main ball handler since his sophomore year in high school, his game is at its best when he's not the primary initiator of the offense. The best case scenario for Haliburton's development was always going to be playing next to an aggressive, down-here attacker in the backcourt. That's why De'Aaron Fox is such a nice complement to his game, and vice versa. Fox is best at using his speed to get into the teeth of the defense, forcing help defenders to rotate to the rim and getting to the foul line. Haliburton has the opposite skill set. He's a ball mover and a spot-up shooter on offense who is always going to make the right play rather than forcing his own look. When leading the second unit, Haliburton can keep the offense chugging along nicely with a set of athletic bigs and a sharpshooter in Buddy Hield. And that's exactly what he's done this season. He's been a secondary offensive engine for the Kings, making remarkably quick decisions as a passer, possessing the vision to see teammates all over the court, and having an impeccable knack for avoiding mistakes. Once again, boasting a pretty nice assist-to-turnover ratio of 21-3. And while he hasn't collapsed the defense with his dribble penetration, his ability to move the ball quickly from side to side is something every good offense needs. He's also found himself in the right place at the right time numerously on the defensive end, making countless hustle rotations that won't show up on the box score. His janky shot hasn't hindered his three-point efficiency much at all either, hitting around 50% of his threes at the time of this recording. Would Haliburton look this good if he was taken by, let's say, the Knicks, and fed a bloated diet of pick and rolls with high usage? I don't know. Well, he's certainly smart enough and skilled enough to find some level of success in any situation. The roster around him with the Kings does a wonderful job of accentuating what he's good at, while not asking him to go out of his comfort zone. It's far too early for any major extrapolations. Too early to say he's a future All-Star or even a future Rookie of the Year. I personally believe no one's taken that crown from Ben Simmons, but it sure feels like the Kings have found themselves a winning player with the 12th pick in the draft. A player who consistently goes out and gives amazing team performances despite constantly being overlooked. One thing's for sure though, at least for the beginning of this season, Haliburton days of being slept on are over. That is all I have for y'all today. Try something new, a mini documentary. If you liked this video, you made it to the end, that you're still hearing me talk at this second, consider liking the video and putting your thoughts down below. Thank y'all so much for 1K subs. Man, just 3 months ago when I started doing this, I didn't imagine even being at 1K. And I'm really grateful for that. Thank y'all for just tuning in and showing your support. I hope y'all have a great 2021. 2020 was hard on everyone. And until next time, I hope y'all stay safe.